Greetings and welcome to this short screencast on how to use the CTDL data crosswalk spreadsheet. My name is Stuart Sutton and I'll be with you for the next few minutes. The crosswalk spreadsheet is used by teams and is a working document for analyzing an organization's credential-related data in order to map that data to the CTDL. So the Crosswalk spreadsheet is a kind of scratchpad for recording such mappings in advance of exporting the local data in the form of CTDL properties and classes. Now you'll notice the spreadsheet at the bottom has a number of tabs: organization, credential, assessment, learning opportunity, competency framework, and cross-institutional conditions. These different tabs cover the major entities in the CTDL model. The basic structure of the spreadsheets themselves, the columns, rows, are fundamentally the same except for the data in columns A and B. Otherwise, the template is the same for each of the spreadsheets. Now, another general observation, columns A and B on the left represent CTDL data and the data class. Columns F and G on the right represent your data in your data store, or data that is present in your data even if you don't drive your website from a data store, a content management system of some sort. So what I want to do now is I just simply want to walk across these columns so that I can describe what's there to give you a better grasp of the use of the spreadsheet. So in column A contains a select set of CTDL properties. So each property listed in A has been linked to its definition table in the CTDL documentation. So if you click on address, you'll be taken to the table where the address property is described in full. Now, I think the best practice is to click on these links and to read the documentation for the property so you have a full understanding of its definition and its intended use within the CTDL. Again, not every CTDL property listed here in the table will have a match in your data, and vice versa. Your data may have properties that are not found here, and perhaps not even found in the properties and classes that are in the documentation that haven't been included here in this set of general most likely properties. So that's column A. So column A has the CTDL property. Now column B simply lists the class of thing that the property in column A belongs to. So in other words, address belongs to credential organization, the entity credential organization. Same thing with agent sector type and so forth. These properties, you'll note that they change, they shift as you go down the column. You'll notice down at 26, you're looking at the class of thing called postal address. And postal address, obviously, from what its name implies, is where you get the address, country, locality, street address, and so forth for defining the address of a credentialing organization. So column A, the property, and column B, the class to which the property belongs. Column D is the class, is just a notes and hints field. There are things in this in the notes that are useful, that are coming from us, but it's also a place where you can record additional notes. Again, this is your working spreadsheet, so anything that you feel you need to put in here to remind you of something later or whatever, it's perfectly legal. Go ahead and add anything. You'll notice that some of the notes from us include references to control vocabularies to which certain properties have values. So if you look at line 12, you'll see there is a property called agent type. Oh, I'm sorry, 11 agent sector type. And if you look over in its notes field, you'll see that it says to take the value from the agent sector vocabulary. That piece of text, value from agent sector vocabulary, is in fact a link which will take you to the agent sector vocabulary so you can see what values are there. So that's the notes field. Again, it's a general space for you to record things that you feel you need to keep track of in relationship to a given property. Then we have the guide, and the guide is basically nothing more than a reference to our implementer's guide documentation. You'll see one periodically in most of these. There's one at line 10, and that is the guide section for credential organization. So if you click it, you'll go to the implementation guidelines to the place where credential organization or agents are handled. Same thing with line 26. It also has a C guide, and that link will take you to the place in the documentation where it demonstrates and talks about postal address. So there's some additional assistance in addition to the definitional tables for the properties themselves. Then you get your data element. Now, if the data you are mapping to the CTDL is managed through some form of a content management system, a CMS of any kind, column F asks you to identify the element or attribute in your CMS that maps to the property in column A. So you would simply write in the field name or the element name that has data that matches the property in column A. So if you have it with line 10, if your database has an address pointer, something that points to an address, then you would record that element in column F. Now, that if you don't have a content management system that's driving your website or whatever, all you need to put here is an X or a check mark or something that says, yes, we have an address. Yes, our organization has a name. Yes, it owns certain things like credentials and so forth. So you can just mark off things that are there even though you don't have a content management system. So column F can do double duty. It can just be a place as a checkoff for those of you with HTML pages that are maintained through a standard editor and so forth by staff. You can just check off the kinds of data you have in that line with the CTDL property. But if you have a content management system, then describing the place, the field, the element where that data can be found, and then in column G, the table or whatever additional information so you can locate that field, then that would comprise columns F and G. Nope, I didn't move my pointer, G. And then finally, there's column C. Column C is a suggestion from us as to the occurrence of a property. You'll notice above the key says green is expected, blue is expected if present in the data, 3 is recommended, 4 is optional. There is a lot of optional, either recommended or optional, as you can see from the encodings in the column. The second one is a little odd, perhaps, expected if present in your data. All that's saying is that if a piece of data is present in your data, then it is expected to be included. If it is not present in your data, then obviously it is not expected. So there's expected if present, recommended, and optional. And what we've done is assign those values to the properties listed in the table. So in essence, that's it. When you have completed the spreadsheet, you'll have a complete inventory of your published credentialing data that can be then second mapped, crosswalked to properties and classes in the CTDL. So basically, that's how you work the spreadsheet. Thank you.